What is going on, everyone? My name is Under the Radar, and welcome back to the Draft League Viabilities. In the last episode, we covered Toxapex. Has a lot more than meets the eye to it with its massive defenses, so I strongly urge you guys to go check it out. Now, I realize I didn't give you guys anything to really build it around, but that's why I'm doing this video, because I think I have a really cool idea of a 2-mon core that will really solidify a lot of things that Toxapex can do as a Pokemon. Since I went over how Toxapex is really cool with the ability Merciless, being able to set up Toxic Spikes, being a really good bulky pivot, I kind of wanted to pair it up with one of these starter Pokemon, and what quickly became one of my favorite Pokemon in the entire Alola region, and that is Decidueye. Decidueye is a very unique mon simply because of its typing alone. Grass Ghost is extremely unique. It's a spin blocker also while resisting Earthquake, and a lot of the common rapid spinners in higher tiers are mainly ones that rely on ground stab, such as Donphan. Even if you want to count things like Forretress, both of those mons rely heavily on rapid spin and either Gyro Ball or Earthquake as a stab. Granted, Donphan does get knockoff to hurt Decidueye. However, Decidueye is extremely unique because it does have a decent defensive typing, it has access to a very cool move pool that I will go over here in a couple minutes, and it has a very good ability to make your opponent guess as to what type of set you are. If they guess wrong, they could be in a lot of trouble. What I mean by that is, looking specifically at Decidueye's move pool, it has insane, unique capabilities as a bulky pivot and as a really good wall breaker. I know you're looking at its attack and special attack and you're like, Kelly, what are you smoking? How on earth is this thing going to be a wall breaker? Settle down, Timmy. I got you. Sit back and relax and listen to this. So Decidueye gets access to really cool moves such as Synthesis, Roost, U-Turn, and Defog, meaning that not only are you getting a hazard remover, you're also getting a spin blocker. So if your opponent is a Donphan, you can switch on it pretty easily. Even if it is knockoff, once it knocks off one time, you have reliable recovery, you can fix yourself up. Say you switch in on a Donphan's Rapid Spin, you know he's going for a knockoff next turn, he's poisoned because of Toxapex's Toxic Spikes, you U-turn out of there, do a little bit of chip damage, and go into something else to take it and hurt it even more with the toxic damage. So it has a very unique ability in doing that. Now, with base 100 special attack and 107 physical attack, this allows it to be a very good wall breaker just because of the fact that you have to try and guess what type of set it's going to be. This thing has a mild Lucario effect, and if you have ever used or faced a Lucario in draft format, you know that you have to attack it once it's in front of you, you cannot let it set up, you have to figure out which way it's going to set up, and you have to try to prep around it like it's going to set up both ways. And the reason I say that this has the Lucario effect is simply because this thing has access to Swords Dance and Nasty Plot. So with Swords Dance and moves like Leaf Blade and Spirit Shackle and even Shadow Claw, if you want to go that route, if you don't want to run its signature move, it's very powerful if you let it set up the wrong way. Or if you go into, like, say, a Fizz Def Clefable, and then all of a sudden you have a Nasty Plot Decidueye sitting in front of you, sitting at +2 with Shadow Ball, and you're not unaware Clefable, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. It's going to force people to prep in 2 different ways in order to try to wall this thing. At the same time, when you're trying to wall it, if it's not set up at all, your wall just came in, got poisoned for no reason because Toxic Spikes are up on the field just for this thing to U-turn on out. Just some general calcs for you guys that I did the other day. Spirit Shackle from a max attack Life Orb Decidueye does about 35% to Fizz Def Clefable. So if you set up one Swords Dance, it's easily 2-hit KO'd. If it's unaware, it's going to be taking the poison damage. It's also going to be trapped in because Spirit Shackle has the ability to trap mons in, so it cannot switch out once you use it. And you don't have to worry about it setting up, because if you pair it with Toxapex, you're going to crit it with Venoshock and Toxic Spikes literally every single time it's going to set up. All you have to do is make sure you can live 1 Moonblast, 1 Psychic, 1 Psyshock. To a max Fizz Def Sylveon, a Leaf Blade is doing 41%. After it comes in on 1 layer of Toxic Spikes and maybe a layer of Rocks, Leaf Blade is now a 2-hit KO from Life Orb Decidueye. And as I said before, this is all assuming that you're physical. If they switch in a physical wall and you smack them with like a shadow ball, or you set up a nasty plot in their face, then they're screwed. The cool thing about this thing setting up in front of your face is if you also want to take the offensive approach and it sets up a sword stance, it has access to Sucker Punch, so it still has the priority effect as Lucario does, so it's going to be extremely hard. You have to scout this thing before you do anything. The fact that this thing is going to pretty much stop bulky water types, it's going to stop other spin blockers from being able to destroy it as long as it's faster. And it's also going to have the ability to stop bulky psychic types all in one team is going to make this thing a good wall breaker, because a lot of teams, they rely on a bulky psychic type and a bulky water type. That's the two main bulky types aside from like a steel type that most drafts rely on. For example, I relied on a Milotic and a Jirachi, or a Milotic and a Mew. Like, this thing can blow that back unless they speed creep like max speed Decidua. Then you take into the account that maybe this thing isn't Life Orb. This thing is a very viable Scarfer. At base 70 speed, I believe that outspeeds max speed 130s. I might be a little bit off on that. I haven't done the checking. I could easily do it, but to be honest, I'm a little bit lazy. Yeah, it outspeeds max speed 130s, so things like Mega Lop are still going to be able to outspeed this, Mega Manectric, things of that nature. But if it's slower than that, it's going to be able to outspeed it, and it's going to be able to get off a really fast U-turn. It's going to be able to trap them in if they're like being toxic stalled, or if they're being hurt by toxic and they can't touch this thing. This thing has a lot of promise to put a lot of pressure on teams and force building in a specific way. And when you have a mon like Toxapex that can crit fairies, which are another very good prominent defensive typing in the league format, and you have this which can pressure the other two really good defensive typings, together they can put a lot of pressure on walls, especially if they're like, if the player is a more bulky player, it can really put a hurting on them. Do I think that either one of these mons will go within the first 3 rounds of a draft format? No, because I think there are things that can do their job better. However, as a very late round pick, or even like a round 6 to 7 pick, these two mons are going to be really niche, especially if you're pairing them up with the likes of a Mega Scizor or something like that, to where you can sweep something once walls are weakened. It's going to have a lot of really cool, unique niches on a team. Well guys, there you have it. The first week of the Draft League Viabilities has come back into session with the Pokemon Sun and Moon. Let me know what you guys thought of these two Pokemon. Let me know if you think that my opinions are a little overrated, if you think I'm hyping it up a little too much. Just make sure you let me know your guys' opinions down below so I know what you guys think. While you're down there though, don't forget to leave a comment letting me know which mons you want me to cover later on in the series, because I would always talk about anything you guys would like me to talk about. But with all that being said guys, I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.